Okay, we're going to be using Cargo. Cargo is a build system and dependency manager for Rust. So we have an empty directory, and to start a project, we can write cargo build. Actually, it's cargo new, and then the name of our project. Okay, so now we'll enter the directory that Cargo created, and we'll find that we have a couple files. So the first is cargo.toml. This contains information about our Cargo project. It uses TOML, which is Tom's Obvious Minimal Language. And this is just a configuration for building our project. If we have these headers for our configuration, and then we have key value pairs which pertain to these headers. So like name, version, edit pertain to package, and then anything under dependencies would pertain to dependencies. So the nice part about dependencies is that Cargo will take whatever we write here, and it will automatically build any outside or external libraries that we have. For this project, where we're just testing out Cargo, we don't need that. Okay, Cargo also created main.rs when we created the new project for us, and this looks identical to what we did before. Now, earlier we compiled with rustc and then the name of our source file, and we could still do that, but Cargo gives us a more convenient tool to do the same thing. We can just do cargo build, and then it outputs that it compiled our source file, and it also outputs where it put. It also outputs the directory that our source file is located in, and then it gives us some information about what we just compiled and the time it took. All right, now we have two extra files. We have cargo lock. All this does is keep track of the versions of all of our dependencies, and we don't need to edit this at all. And then we have this other file, target, which will expand into a couple things. And we are most interested in debug. So there's a lot of files here, but all we need to worry about is this, which is the same name as our project. This is our executable, like the executable we generated before. So we can just go back to our project directory, and inside of this directory we can just tell our shell that we want to execute the executable that shares the same name as our project. But we can make it even easier than that. We can do cargo run, which will run the source file, or will run the executable. Now, you'll notice that this finished in 0 seconds. This ran very quickly, whereas cargo build ran much longer than that. Cargo understands that we've already compiled and linked and built the executable, and so it doesn't do the same thing twice, which is why this ran so fast. If we were to change something in our main file, like we just removed a word, and then we did cargo run. Notice how it took a little longer. It compiled, and then it ran our different source after, compared to this, which was already executed. All right. Okay. We can also do cargo check, which doesn't create an executable. It compiles and checks that our code is valid, but it doesn't take the extra time to actually generate machine code and then put it into a file. So this is useful if you're working on a project, you're writing code, and you're a little shaky about whether or not it's proper Rust. You might want to check if it's good code without actually caring to see what happens when you execute it. So that would be the purpose of cargo check. Okay, and all this is fine, but you'll notice that the executable is in the debug file, which means that the executable we created is for debugging, and eventually you're going to want to release your project or the software you just wrote. So you want to give cargo build a flag of release, and that will take longer, generally speaking, but your runtime of the code will be faster because it'll optimize the machine code, which takes a little bit of extra thinking, and then it'll run faster at the end of the day. So that's the basics of cargo.